Osama bin Laden died a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, or a couple years ago is actually secondary to the fact that the pretext for staying in Afghanistan is done, is over, is finished, is kaput. There is no more excuses, no more pretexts, no more rationale, nothing, no more reasons to stay. It is time to leave. It is time to end. That word, end, is an important word. To stop, to finish, to leave. No more do we need to be in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Libya, in Pakistan, in Yemen, in Israel, in Colombia, in dozens of other countries. The amount of sweat, the amount of blood, the amount of money has been never ending. It has been endless. The wars have been endless. The occupations have been endless. The amount of money, seemingly, our tax dollars and your tax dollars, have been endless. The amount of excuses have been endless. The amount of fears has been endless. The amount of lies has been endless. We have had endless more of everything, including endless more of accumulation of capital, of international corporations that have used the United States military as a subsidy to them to provide the safe haven they need to plunder resources, to exploit workers, and to find those depositories of dumping of toxic waste in other countries, in other places. We can no longer, nor should we, subsidize the wealthy, subsidize the multinational corporations. We cannot have endless wars, endless occupations, endless amounts of money, our tax dollars going all over the place, endless accumulations of capital, endless everything. Look it up, my friends. There's only one thing that sort of goes on that has no limits of any sort. You know what that is? Cancer. An endless amount of growth in which we think can go on forever. It can't. It's impossible. It violates physical laws. It violates economic realities. It violates political realities. There is something called limits. And we, my friends, have reached the limits. We have reached the material limits. We cannot afford to spend any more money. We cannot afford to take more resources from the planet. We cannot afford to allocate more of our sons and daughters to go and fight on behalf of multinational and transnational corporations. We cannot afford to sacrifice what little authority, what little credibility, what little respect this country has in the eyes of the other countries. We have reached the limit. And when you reach a limit, there's one thing and only one thing you must do. And that is stop. And that is end. And that is begin to switch and change courses, to change priorities, to change directions. And that's what we need to do today. And you driving, you need to commit to doing the same. This building behind us, a federal building, has many people doing good things, but some people who are doing not so good things. They are propping up what can be said is nothing short of an empire that has decided it can only exist by continuing in desperation to exploit, to invade, to reach for resources, to try to control the tap of oil and natural gas and other unrenewable resources. That's the only way it can continue, because the realities of the limits have been reached. The grandiose plan of us being on top of the world economically is done. We reached our zenith from 1945 to 1970. From that point forward, economically, militarily, we had started to go south and continue to move in that direction. There is no way we can continue. It is unsustainable. Unsustainable in so many ways. The only way to make what exists politically, economically, ecologically sustainable is to stop, is to reverse, and to evolve, to transfer resources from places that are wasteful to places that are useful and productive. We can take many of those saved resources and turn them back to our pockets, to cut taxes. We can also redirect them in places that are much more socially and economically sustainable. My friends, we as a society must evolve, must change, must alter, and we can do so. But we can only do so if we stop, if we end, if we acknowledge the limitations and recognize that the only way to leave is to leave. And the three best ways to leave, and you don't need to have a PhD in military sort of strategy to figure out the three ways to leave is by air, by land, and by sea. That's how we should leave. And the ways to do that are simple and can be done beginning today. Now. Now is the time to leave, to end, to recognize we have reached the limits, and we